My name is Mitchel. I grew up in Australia, painting and drawing since childhood. Went to a couple of different art schools for training. The Victorian College of the Arts in Melbourne, Australia was the last one, and Paran College previous to that. I'm also a trained high school art and science teacher. I first came to the States because I married an American woman. We were both traveling at the time. We met in Thailand. Obviously she's an American citizen, so that's what brought me to the States. I saw it as an adventure to come here, and there's a perception in Australia that art is happening elsewhere. Even though there's a very strong, thriving art community, particularly in Melbourne and Sydney, we always feel that the real art is happening in the United States or Europe, so I was eager to come here. Though I found that art is much the same all over the world. There's thriving communities everywhere. People just as enthusiastic and engaged as they are in Australia as they are in the States. I would say from the very first figure drawing session, which was at a teacher's college in Australia, we had a nude which is a pot-bellied middle-aged man, and I thought this was just fascinating. I obviously continued through my education to do figure drawing, and then later on when I was living in Melbourne, Australia, I had an opportunity to basically continue a figure drawing session someone else had started, and I fostered that for quite a few years. It was very successful, and I find that working with the figure is the most challenging subject and the most interesting and engaging. It is all of us. We all share the experience of being embodied. We're fascinated by our own body and by the body of others. And without doubt, drawing or painting the figure is the most difficult, the most complex subject, but for me the most rewarding. I feel that if you can draw convincingly, doesn't mean academically correct, but if you can convincingly draw the human figure, you can draw anything. But we are accustomed to seeing bodies and figures and faces all the time. So if a painting or drawing is not, say, convincing, then we don't accept it. We're not comfortable with it. So it has to engage the viewer and be read as, say, real. That again doesn't have to be academically correct. So last Friday at the First Friday Art Walk, which is the opening of this show, I had quite a few questions and discussions about not only my work, but working with the nude in general. Probably the most provocative discussion was a man who'd studied theology, and he felt the work was potentially pornographic and inspired by Satan, his words. He found it seemingly offensive at some level, and he felt there was an over display of genitals. And then at the end of the conversation, he revealed that he had put himself forward and wanted to be a model for our art group, which I found a little surprising. There was also discussions or questions about why I didn't include more male nudes or more full-bodied women models. So there's a range of answers for that. One is that it's economics. So it takes a lot of work and effort to put together one painting or drawing, and to frame it is expensive. So if the work doesn't potentially sell, it's a lot of time, effort, work, and money for me. So even though, I'll back up here. When I run my figure drawing sessions, I ask the artists who or what do they want to draw, and they say everything. I want long, tall, short, black, white, male, female, non-binary, the whole range of things. And through my experience of many years of running these groups, I know they are lying. Because when they say, I want an old man, and I said, next week we have a fantastic model, elder man is great. And they say, oh, fantastic. And they don't come. And then similarly, I have hired great models, say a middle-aged woman who's steady and engaging poses, and by the end of the first set, half the room is empty. And so what they mostly want, it seems, are young, pretty female models. It's not absolute, because I have models who are contrary to that, but and similarly, and that comes to my point of selling works, what I sell most of are drawings and paintings of young, relatively attractive females. So, but it doesn't deter me. I am determined to do more male nudes and work with models who are differently bodied. So. So that comes to a discussion I had on that particular subject. One particular woman was asking, why didn't I do more fuller-bodied women or male nudes? And I was like, well, I do what people mostly want. And she's welcome to take on the subject herself, because she also is an artist herself. So good luck to her. So obviously there's many views on the figure. It confronts us at an obviously very personal level, and our pre-existing views, our biases, our insecurities, our inhibitions all come up when we're presented with a naked figure. For me, working with the unclothed figure, it's taking away all those social cues. We're unencumbered by dress, which determines location, time, place, etc. We are just ourselves. So in that sense, that's what fascinates me most, because when a person's undressed, they are potentially the most completely themselves. That doesn't mean they reveal themselves, but they are potentially the most honest self. That is what engages me most. When you're working with a figure, often, I mean, I see lots of naked bodies, you get past the sexuality and the desire thing pretty quickly. I like to say you cannot lust and draw at the same time. So what you get to, because you're drawing and focused on this person for an extended period of time, you look very deeply into that person. And particularly the way I work, I do private sessions often with models. I spend hours with these people and often work with them over years in time. They expose themselves, to use the pun, a lot. I get to know the intimacies of their lives, their relationships, their family background, their life. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been a member of New Zone Gallery about 3 years, which is very, very satisfying for me, because not only the opportunity to have a show like this, but every couple of months the shows change, so I keep on bringing in new work all the time. The current show that's on the wall now is here for the month of August. Featured artists for the month of August. Please come and look. I'm happy to receive feedback, both good and bad. I'm not afraid of criticism, so I hope people come and talk about it and tell me what they think.